After you've learned how the pieces move, including special moves like castling and capturing en passant, and you understand the basic concept of checkmate, your first task should be to learn uh, simple endgames. This endgame is the simplest of all, and once you know it, you can execute it very quickly with very little time left on your clock if you're playing in a tournament or even playing online where a clock is usually used. Okay? You don't want to worry about calculating how to checkmate in the fewest number of moves. You want to learn a pattern that you can execute very quickly with little or no calculation. So in this situation, rook to a5 would lead to checkmate with the fewest number of moves. However, after rook to a5, the king will come forward, and then there's just more calculation that you have to do. So what I recommend in this situation is rook to a4. The reason being is you're confining the king to the part of the board that he's already occupying. So you don't want him to go forward. You want to push him back one rank at a time. There's 8 horizontal lines, and they're called ranks. And so this move prepares to push the king back another rank. Once he makes a move, you use the other rook to push him back a rank. That's the basic idea. And so he makes a move. He has to go back to another rank and then use this rook to take over the other rank. Then he moves. You take over another rank. The king moves. And we take over the final rank is checkmate. That's the basic idea. Now, black is likely to try to make it difficult so that he can perhaps frustrate white. And this would only happen if white was a beginner. But after this move, black could start coming towards the rook. After this move, he goes back, but he comes towards the rook. And after this move, he's forced back, but he comes towards the rook. And so now if white played here, continuing the same pattern, that will be a blunder. Black would capture here. And while white is still going to win this game with care, black will have more time to fight. And if there's only seconds left, it could be that white's time elapses, and then black will achieve a draw. He can't win if he doesn't have any material left but his king. But if white runs out of time in this position, he can't draw. So after coming here, there's 2 ideas. The first idea is you bring the rook on the same line. In this case, we're talking about ranks, but it works with files too. Files are the vertical lines. The same line as far away from the king as possible, but not here. He would come here, so he's staying out of the way of this rook. So this, if he came all the way as far as possible in the same line, then this will be counterproductive because the rooks are in each other's way. So in this way of going here, then after this, he takes over this rank, and after this, takes over the final rank, checkmate. An idea I think which is easier, but other people may find it differently. After this, he attacks the rook. I just line my rooks up this way. When rooks are on the same line and the king is already next to them, the king must move away. So the king moves away from the rook, then the rook checks. Then if the king comes back, the rooks line up again. So every time they line up, the king must move away from the rooks. And now checkmate. So let's see how that works in a practical example. We'll execute this endgame against a computer opponent in place of a human opponent. First, take over this line. Pushing back again. So we did that, and we didn't need our full 30 seconds. Okay. Now, if it was vertical, it might be confusing at first, but with practice, it'll be just as easy. Here, we're checking along files instead of ranks, but it's the same principle. So we start with the rook that's farthest from the king. It will be this rook, because this rook is slightly closer to the king. And we go here. We take over this this line next to the king, this file next to the king, to keep him from coming out of the rectangle that he's in. So we made the rectangle smaller by making this move. Then we'll take over this other line. Then we'll line the rooks up. He'll move away. Now, if he comes there, I would play here, take over this line, take over this line, and now here, and checkmate. So that's an easy ending, and you should practice it until you can execute it easily within 1 minute against a strong opponent. Let's say Stockfish level 8 would be a suitably strong opponent to practice this endgame against. Okay, thank you for watching, and please subscribe for more.